Happy Sunday to everyone, or whatever day you're listening this on. I wish you a good day. My name is Lucas, and this is the 99th episode of this podcast. I will try to not get too long winded, but this week there's no guest. I've thrown out a lot of invitations, no replies, which to me is a sign that I need to do some reflecting. It's a good opportunity to update you on some life situations that I think should be shared, because I like this to be as open as possible. So, to start with, I think most relevantly is that I've decided in my spiritual search that it was time to join a community. Now, I've long been able to call myself a Christian. That is partially because of how I've grown up in a Christian tradition, in a Christian country, but I've also really had my own personal conviction a couple of years ago, and I believe the Christian story on every single level, from the material to the metaphysical. I'm not a type of person to look at it and to think, yes, symbolically it's true, but materially it's not. I think it's true on all levels. I think it's truly a moment where history and myth come together. Now, with that belief, I want to do something. I want to share in a community. I want to practice more deeply. I want to engage in age-old rituals. And I've been doing some searching for the last couple of years. I've visited multiple churches and wondered what's the right fit. I wondered if church was the fit at all. I visited an Orthodox church multiple times, and very honestly, I did have issues with it. Issues that I don't think are talked about a lot. I felt that the Orthodox they're mystical. The services are wild. I really like that aspect of it, the incense. The first service I joined started at 9 a.m. and it finished at 12:30 p.m. and people were walking in the whole time, and it felt incredible. But a fact about Orthodoxy is that they are Orthodox, so they adhere to very strict rules, very strict practices. It is very strictly forbidden to be homosexual, for example, which I'm not myself, but I know plenty of people that are, and that don't feel like that is something they can change about themselves. They don't feel like that's something that's wrong with themselves, and I feel the same way. I really do. I understand symbolically arguments of the female and the masculine and the feminine, but I just don't go that far, and I do view it as an issue, and that exclusivity for me is too strong, for myself personally. All that said, I see the value of Orthodoxy. I understand that it's good to have a denomination that adheres so strictly to all the rules that the rules maintain themselves and they don't just water out. So it's not a bashing against that. But personally, to me, it feels too constricting and too difficult to operate in a structure like that, where some of my favorite people in the world wouldn't be allowed to participate in fully, because of something they can't change about themselves. And I really don't see this discussed a lot. So yeah, I couldn't do that. I also found it practically difficult to incorporate that into my life, because I feel if you engage in an Orthodox life, you're expected to marry that way too. You're encouraged to do that. And I don't share the same faith as my wife, and I'm very fine with that, and so is she. And I feel almost blessed. I do feel blessed for our differences, and I learn a lot from her and the tradition that is more important to her. But I do still feel like, and I felt at the time, that I want to deepen my faith by going to church. I come from a Protestant background, and I still find it difficult to go Protestant church for the very surface level. The reason is that I still cringe a lot, and you could say, well, that's your fault. And my brother said, which is not his quote, but he said maybe the part of you that cringes needs to die, and sure, but I think there's also a good reason that I cringe, that I do feel that at least some manifestations, some forms of Protestantism are so far removed from the source, from original Christian practices, where we're, blasting in microphones and playing pop songs and getting our mass through the mailbox. I do see issues with that too, and that's not the same with Orthodoxy. It's not to bash all of Protestantism, and I think again there's also a place for that side of the spectrum, but I don't feel at home there, and I don't feel that I'm going to be able to find what I'm looking for there. Now, if you're listening to all of this and you think, Lucas, why are you church shopping? Isn't that something you're not supposed to be doing? And yes, that's true. I like the argument of saying go wherever is closest to you, and coincidentally, that's exactly what I've come to, but not for the same reasons as that argument. But I also think it's important that whatever church or whatever spiritual community you're joining, whatever that place is, it can't be a place where you feel too critical. And again, this could be yourself. Mostly it's the relationship you have to it. So in my relationship to the Protestant church, I'm too critical. I'm too bothered by a lot of things. And same with Orthodoxy. There's too much pain there in a way. That's why I've had difficulty finding a church, and that's why I think a lot of people do. A lot of people have well, mine is very light, the problems I have compared to people that are actually traumatized by certain forms of church. But I believe in the church. I really do. And especially after my conversation with David and Matthew, which maybe not all of you have seen, but I do recommend. I'll link it below this video. I was convinced that, and I still am, that church is a good thing, and it's something that if I want to change it or if I want to make it better, I need to do so from within. So I decided to join a Catholic church. It's a Roman Catholic church. It's the one closest to my home. It's international, which I like a lot. This is an English-speaking channel. I'm also part of an English-speaking household. I live in the Netherlands, but I love speaking English. It's a language that I've gotten more comfortable in than my native tongue, which my dad would not be very happy to hear, but it's true. That doesn't mean that I mind speaking Dutch, but it does mean that I like the language a lot. It makes me feel almost more like myself, because I feel that my most formative years were largely spent in English, thinking in English, listening to English, speaking English. So that's an aspect. The community is beautiful. It's vibrant. It's a very big church community. It's almost 1,000 people per service, and the people are wonderful. They're from all over. A lot of African people, Italians, Spanish speaking, a lot of Asians as well. I don't know which countries. I'm yet to have really met a lot of people. I'm starting that now to really see what are those differences, what are the nationalities. But I think there's over 50 or something in the church, which I think is super. For me, I love difference as long as it's part of unity, and that's part of my choice as well. I believe that how big the Catholic Church is beautiful. How people coming from a small village in a different continent can feel completely at home coming here and joining this church. I think that is really powerful. I don't like fragmentation, but I like difference. And so, yeah, very happy with that. I had a big chat yesterday with the priest. Spoke for quite a while, really got a sense of who he is. And I really liked a lot of what I heard. I liked his views on the church. I liked his views on Christianity, on religion. I like that they really seem to practice what they preach in this church. They do a lot of work with homeless and refugees, and really trying to make a difference for the people who need it. And yeah, there's a lot of volunteer work to be done. It seems to just make a lot of sense, and perhaps I'll be disappointed along the way. That's probably the case, but I feel for the first time in my life that I'm excited about Sunday morning and going to church, and I'm happy to hear the songs. I'm happy to see people. I'm happy to get a new perspective, to ponder the text, to ponder the Gospels, to deepen my practice with rituals. I'm going to be initiated from September onward until Easter into Catholicism. And yeah, that's a big life change that I wanted to share. So there's a lot more to be said about it. I really want to close by saying, again, I'm not saying this is the only way. This is the way that I've found for myself. That seems to make a lot of sense. This is a way that connects me to my neighborhood. It's literally 3 streets away, this church. It's a way to connect me through my faith, to my God, to God. I feel that it makes sense for me. And I don't view this religion or this denomination as exclusive. I'm very open to learn more from others, but I do feel like if I really want to understand the tradition, I might as well practice it properly and really get into it and get some knowledge that I can't just get from reading books or listening to podcasts. So that's this step for me. It's a step to deepen my spiritual practice, to deepen my relationship with God and the people around me. So that's that. Big life update number 2. After about a year of being involved in teaching and 6 months of actually teaching, I've decided that I don't want to continue it. And that's sad in many ways because I've spoken a lot about this step with a lot of excitement. And I've been very excited about it. It's been very difficult, but not in a bad way for the most part. And still I've decided to stop. Why did I make this decision? Well, I wanted to choose a job that fits me and my character. It fits the full me. I wanted to do what I was supposed to be doing. I knew that I wanted to work with people. I know that I'm good in conversation. I know that I'm good with children. I like to, whenever we have a birthday of the family, I take a lot of the young kids and we play football, and it's great. And I'm able to organize that. I'm able to take charge, and I'm able to play, really. And that's super important. But I felt that the aspects of it that I like so much, the play, the connection, the one-on-one conversations, they were getting less and less the more I got into the job. The deeper I got into the system, the more I had to embody being the teacher, the less I felt that connection. And I started to just get a bit bothered about the form of education that we have in a lot of places nowadays in the West. And same here. I didn't like it growing up as a kid. I didn't like sitting for 7 to 8 hours a day. I didn't like having to be silent, basically being prepared for a desk job for most of the day. I want education to be more free, to be more playful, really, and I didn't see enough of that in this job. And the truth is that if I would have continued and if I would have been fully certified, I would have had to stay in it for another 3 years after I finished next year. So 5 years total, and that to me is a step too far. So it's not a closing the door on education itself. I do believe in that. It's not a closing the door on a lot of the aspects of it, but it is a ending of this chapter, which in large part has been very joyous, but especially in the last weeks and months that it's picked up in terms of the reality of it, in terms of really fully becoming a teacher. I have realized that I overestimated my capacity to ignore the aspects of it that I knew I didn't like at the start already. And I feel sad about that because I did have and I still have, I have 2 more weeks, a tremendous group of kids that I was teaching. And I think I helped some of them along the way, and they definitely helped me. And I'm still very positive about the school, and I don't think it's a corrupt system or that it's completely wrong or anything like that. But similar with the church thing, I don't feel like I can operate inside of it without feeling too constricted. I'm also not deluded. I'm not gonna find a perfect job, but I know I can find something that fits me more. I know I can find a place where I can serve better, and in the meantime, I'm going back to working in the gym, and that's work that I like, and that fits me well. Not the perfect job either, but a job that doesn't make me feel in any way resentful or doesn't create any type of constraints or blocks within my soul. I feel that it's not the job that I'm supposed to end up at, because I do feel like I can do more, things that challenge me more on different levels. Gym is very physical. It's a big part of me, but it's not all of me. But yeah, it's good known territory from which it's ground to stand on, from which I can jump to a different spot, and hopefully that will be better. But yeah, that's announcement number 2. I am very excited to now have the summer coming up and to really have time to reflect, go on a little trip at some point with the wife as well, and enjoying the sun here. I'm going to get back to work. It also means I'll have a bit more time for the podcast. I'm very happy to have, in this last half year especially, very busy half year, to have kept up the podcast largely. And I'm excited to continue that. I have some exciting guests coming up, but a lot of them are quite far into the future because people are busy. So short term, I'm looking for more people. I would be happy to hear your guys' inputs on who I could speak to. Very honestly, I am looking a bit more critically at my guests simply because I really want a difference in perspective. I want more interreligious dialogues. I honestly want, still not managed very well, but I want to have more women on this podcast. And I've invited quite a couple now. So hopefully those will come more in the future. I think it's really valuable to get more perspectives, and I've definitely had a lot of men on. And it's not to say that if you're a man and you want to come on the channel that that's an issue or anything, but I do want to diversify a bit for the sake of getting more perspectives, more insights, more stories, different stories. Yeah, that's the goal. I still feel like I'm on the right path in terms of the balance of the type of guests I'm having. I've got, friends of the channel that come back more regularly that I really like to speak to, that I can deepen the conversations with, to have maybe different types of conversations. Like I love what I did with Michael and with my family recently, with Alexio Divina and with Michael. I discussed the text last week. This is an underrated episode, by the way. I told Mike that it's one of my favorites in a while. It was really good. I really liked it. We discussed a bit of Plato, so that was awesome. I'd like to do more of that. Be a bit more directed about the topic. Excited to welcome new guests as well. I think it's kind of like a business in the sense that it's easier to keep the clients you have than to find new ones, but I do still want to challenge myself to get new people on, and that I'm excited about. I'm excited to do episodes where I can do a bit more homework. I don't want to jinx it, but it's at this point, what's in the works is a second round with James Filler, who's been on the channel before. It was a very good episode, well received as well. I'm going to be reading his second book in the coming weeks, and we'll discuss it in August, so that's an exciting thing to come. And yeah, I also want to make more creative projects. I brought this camera that I recorded already 1 or 2 vlogs with that have been uploaded to the channel that I want to do more with. I'm just still finding the format for it. And then I want to do something in between where I want to use beautiful images. I want to tell stories. So there's a lot of ideas bubbling up. I've just not been super able to give them form, especially with having been so busy. But I think the summer is a nice opportunity to do that because I honestly hate sitting at home and doing nothing. So free time is best spent developing yourself on all levels, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So exciting things to come. These 2 updates to me are very positive. I'm very excited about both of them, and yeah, I think I'll keep it there. Hope you guys have had a good weekend, and wish you nothing but the best. Please leave a comment if you'd like to speak on the channel. Leave your recommendations, your guest recommendations below. Advice for a new job, leave below as well. But I'm sure I'll land on my feet and figure something out. So I'll see you guys for the next one.